What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Nothing much. How's it going today?
Doing well.
Beautiful. How are
It's
you?
Friday, beautiful day.
Yes.
Got water spilt on me.
I'm telling you, man.
That's
You
a
know,
nice thing.
things exciting. This shit's exciting.
Yes.
Well, welcome to Burn the Ship. It's an entrepreneurial podcast. We like to talk about exciting new entrepreneurs and see where their successes were, their failures were. So I'm going to give you the floor. Kind of tell us what you do.
That's a convoluted question.
Damn sure is.
So I am actually
Don't go to the shoebox under the bed just yet.
I'm not doing all that. I'm a discipline dean at a low socioeconomic high school. I am a college professor, and I am everything wellness. I have a lot of different clients that I work with that I just help become well. So I'm more of a life strategy kind of guy,
Okay.
a life strategist. I would coin it.
Nice.
And I like your name. Tell me, your name is Heat Rises.
Heat Rises. So
I like your name.
this comes from an old joke that I used to make with my friends because it was a joke on science. So my brother, he always talks about science. I'm more of a spiritual guy.
Yeah.
And I was just joking one day about science and how if heat truly does rises, you can get low enough and grab you some lava. So the Heat Rises podcast, the coin is Heat Rises, grab lava.
Yes.
So that's the
Love
coin
it.
too. Yeah.
And yeah, we talked to your brother the other day. He's really into the Terrence Howard theory.
Yeah, we actually spoke about that last night. And, I concur with him, and yeah, it's a strange thing.
It
but-
was wild. It's wild. I was telling him, it's just like I'm not smart enough to know if he's right or not. So I gotta ask other people. And enough people say he's full of shit that I'll believe them.
Yes.
I like to call it the corn dog conundrum.
Okay. Tell us a little about that. Corn dog conundrum.
Oh, it's just who knows? Nobody knows anything really.
Yes, facts.
You can think you do until you don't.
But you know about wellness and getting people right.
I do know that.
So tell me.
that.
I come into you. I'm like, hey, I want you to be my coach. What do you do? What do you do to me?
So we take 1 week.
Okay.
And I let you see all your calories, your behaviors. You treat one whole week just like you normally would. If you're going out with your family, your friends on a Saturday and Sunday, I want you documenting everything that you can loosely. It doesn't have to be point blank, but I want you kind of showing me what your lifestyle looks like. What do you do during a day? What's your activity? And then
Write it down if you put it in your mouth.
yes, or anything that you do behaviorally. That's why it's a life strategist, is because it's all about your habits. Because, for instance, when you burn the ship and you haven't collected the dead wood in your life, and now all of a sudden there's a wildfire, you're going to go back to those habits that you have collected over time. And to me, that is how people get into addiction. That is how people get into these lifelong habits, to when you become older, now all of a sudden there's no turning back.
Yeah.
And it's about catching you whenever
Diminishing
you can.
returns for sure.
Yes. So that and just starting simple, because people think they'll watch YouTube or they'll see some kind of influencer saying, we got to go 100. You love David Goggins, love all that kind of stuff. It's a very beautiful mindset if you can get there, if you're that person. But not everybody's that person. And so this is all about trying to get people to understand how to slowly take it and let it be a therapy more than anything.
Yeah, I think that when you got to take all the influencers in every vertical with a grain of salt, because I feel the same way about really big entrepreneurs, like your Mark Cubans and your all the Shark Tank folks, and they're like, I don't take a meeting unless it's this, and this, and I don't do this. Well, you're a billionaire. You have that ability. You didn't do that 25 years ago. So you have to take of where you are and take the good information from them, especially their attitudes. All of them usually have good attitudes.
Yeah.
So take that, and then you got to meet a lot of people. You can't just be like, hey, I'm not meeting anybody on Tuesday afternoon, because that's what Mark Cuban does.
Yeah.
Well, to me, religion is relationships. I mean, now that we're meeting each other all of a sudden, we are now combined in a covenant if we choose to be positive with each other.
100%.
And no matter what, this bond won't break if we keep it positive.
No doubt, and that's really why the how the podcast was born was we couldn't go and create those relationships face to face because COVID, and we brought people in and did virtual, and we just started building bonds, and I told them, I was like, the reason people are signing up with us is because we're happy right now, and nobody's happy right now, and we were like we were some people that were happy, right?
Yeah, we're bringing positive vibes in a time where everything was negative.
Very negative.
And when no one knew what was going on, people start freaking out, because this is a true change. And one of the philosophies that we took on is we're going to be successful, and we kept a positive positive, smile on our face, and people were attracted to it. People actually started gravitating to it, and we were just helping so many people. So, you know, keeping it positive is a good thing.
Man, people are attacking people for water and Sam's, you know what I mean?
Well, you know, I mean, so I just read the Book of Joy by the Archbishop Tutu and the Dalai Lama right before their last meeting before Archbishop Tutu faded. And the whole concept was, if you look too deep inside, that's, you know, where you're going to find that shadow person, Carl Jung, clinical psychology, all that. But the only way to truly find joy is to give to others. Yeah. And the more you're giving your energy to people and it's positive, you are going to get joy from that. You're not going to get joy from inside. Yeah. So another key term that I use is be an energy investor. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my concepts, you know, and I mean, I have merch and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not selling merchandise. Mm-hmm. It's just something that if you want to be a part of the concept, you can go on and, you know, purchase that kind of stuff and be a part of being an energy investor and being somebody who understands that the sea refuses no river. If you look at a lake or a pond, it's all dirty water. There's not a lot of life around a puddle of mud, right? You see a river that's flowing, flowers, lotuses are blooming, and that's going to the ocean. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more life in a river than a pond, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Want to keep it moving now. As far as for where you are and what you're doing now, in most cases when we're talking to these interviewers or the interviewees, it's something that happened that got them into where they are. What happened in your journey that helped you to want to focus on wellness?
I'm going to try to make this as short as possible.
No, you take your time, man. Take your time.
Our father was always a 4 a.m. guy. So up and running, military. And so when we were growing up, he had a little weight set in the garage, and we would lift and run. Never truly, excellent shape, but we always knew that was in our life because you only know what you experience. Mm-hmm. And so throughout time, I fluctuated with things. Me and Richie actually played college football together on the same team.
That's awesome.
And after I got done, I was a musician for a while. So I was actually going to West Point, North Georgia Military College, all this stuff. I went to CSU to be a commissioned officer, and I ended up not signing with that. I ended up signing a contract with the record label, started a band, and went on tour for about 10 years. And then through that, drinking and all of that, I was not doing physical activity. I was that guy, Motley Crue. We're doing this on the road, and so I fell off.
Did you sing?
I was the front man, yes.
I knew it.
I was the front man.
I know a singer when I see one.
Yeah, it was like a WWE show when you came to me. Yeah. I'm jumping off the stage and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But cut to, I'm about 30 years old at the point that this happened, around 2015. I'm laying next to my wife at the time, and I remember just like kind of boo-hooing, crying to her. She has a job. I kind of really didn't at the time, traveling, sales, just random things. And she went to work the next morning, and I remember I woke up, and I was sitting on the couch, and I just started bawling. Just couldn't even, and I'm way over. I was about 300 pounds. I'm like 210 right now. And I could not stop. And I made a post on Facebook, just kind of being like, because at the time I didn't have anybody to talk to. And so I made a post on social media, and the amount of people who reached out, and even people I hadn't talked to forever, somebody messaged me and gave me one little cue of advice, and that was it. And I remember I went for a walk, and that was it. And I was getting my master's at the time. I was a grad assistant, and I started going to the gym slowly but surely, and I made myself a science project. And I realized that depression is very real. I suffer from depression heavily. However, I also believe that boredom is a big part of that. Not understanding your purpose, not understanding where to go. So by me doing the things that I did for myself and that I have done for others pro bono, like just having you come in and me using you kind of as a test subject for how I visualize what I do, I witness people doing the same thing that I did. And it could be teachers in the school. It could be students in my school. I've taught kids at the middle school level, the high school level, and the college level, so I'm almost like Mr. Feeney. And so I have the individual who created this logo, his name is Matthew Scott. I taught him in middle school, high school, and then he was in my general conditioning college class. Mm-hmm. And I got to use him as a person with those kids in there, and now everybody's like, what? But he created this logo, and that was kind of my trade-off. Like, you're going to create my logos, and I'm going to give you these things. from January to the time he graduated high school, he went from 230 pounds to 175 pounds. And his whole mindset changed. It wasn't even about the weight, because I don't want people to focus on losing anymore. I want them to focus on gaining. That's a totally different concept, because it's very hard for people to understand. You know, they're given this count your macros, do all this kind of stuff, calories in, calories out. But it's truly the fact that calories are your weight, point blank. That's how you weigh. Macronutrients is how you look. And then micronutrients is how you feel. And you have to break this thing down as simple as possible for people, because the market's oversaturated.
Yeah.
And people ask me all the time, like, dude, this is not a market you want to get into. But I don't want to be a personal trainer. I don't want to. I don't want any part of personal. I call them personal terrorists. And a lot of my friends who are personal trainers and people who I love don't like the fact that I'm saying that kind of stuff. But I don't like the fact that this is a therapy, and I can teach you how to get out of this. I'm not going to try to keep you with me. That's pharmaceuticals, you know? And I'm against all that.
Okay. What was the nugget that somebody sent you that made you want to go take a walk and get it?
So this is that's
what everybody wants to know.
I'm not gonna name drop on him. The beautiful soul, and he was somebody that way back in the day would rage together. And this guy got pretty large based off of partying as well. Cut to, dude was on what's the American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, nice.
And I'm talking about ripped up. Cut. And he sent me one message, because he kind of came from where I was. And he was like, look, take out one meal out of your day that, like, let's say breakfast, one meal that you typically just kind of binge on. Just for this 1 week, just take that one meal and try to eat it healthy. And that's it. Don't try to go gung-ho on this thing. Change your whole diet. All of a sudden I'm carnivore. All of a sudden I'm this, you know. And just take one. Let's take this, because everything's a microcosm, right, in the universe. So let's try to slow this thing down. Don't try to, because it's a journey, right? It's not the destination, it's the journey. If you focus on outcomes, you've already lost. And so you just do that one thing. And in my mind, what that translated to is it's the make your bed type story. Like, don't try to tell the world how to fix itself if your room isn't clean.
Yeah.
And so it's like, then I started compiling all these little wins. And then the biggest thing that I did that I'm trying to teach people is self-speech. And I still have negative self-speech every single day. But the thing is how can I still today get that thing and change the story that I'm telling myself? And that's what it really gave me, that one little thing. And if you can do that to a few people and change that life, that's not even me who changed your life. You changed your own life, but it's the concepts. And this is all stolen information. It's not like I have new, I'm not, some rocket math scientist like Richie. I don't study the universe like that, string theory and whatever you talk about.
Right.
But I do know a lot about clinical psychology and how individuals work with one another and how they talk to themselves. So
I would say that for most of us, we judge ourselves harder than anyone else could even possibly do it. What would be one of those practices that you use to try to slow that down, because you don't want to necessarily stop it in the beginning? What's one thing that you would share with one of your students that has a negative talk mindset?
So you start again small. What time frame does that happen? Because for a lot of us, it's directly in the morning. All right, right when you wake up, like, oh my God, that serpentine brain wants to keep you in bed. So it's like, oh, you're a fat slob, you're not getting out, or you're too skinny, you're never going to put on muscle, or I just don't feel good. You're never going to amount to anything. And just taking that and giving yourself just one small word of affirmation, like, I can do this, or have a visual in your head. So one of my visuals, especially after I got divorced, when I tell you I put a nuclear bomb on my life and I exploded my whole universe. And there was one picture, it's a sports picture, and it's the two gentlemen who are playing basketball, and his teammate comes and raises his chin. I don't know if you know what I'm familiar with. The guy lowers his head, and his teammate comes and does that. And that visualization, that kind of visual terminology in my head as I was walking around, I would just, not to myself, but in my head, I would just pick my head up. And finding little things, again, to tell yourself in those times. I can't remember the lady who created the 5-second rule. Count to 5 and just do what you were going to do. Just do it. But anytime you face a negative situation, you have to have one coin term within yourself to get yourself out of that mindset. On the way up here, driving up here to Atlanta yesterday, all kinds of negative self-speech, and you just have to stop it.
You by yourself driving and you're in your own head?
All day, every day. This thing does not turn off.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I get mad because my brain will not stop telling me I'm not enough or this is not going to work. Why are you going to this podcast? Like, how are you going to start this? You can't do this. You already have all this stuff going on. Just focus on that. Don't do this. And it's just stop doing it. Box breathing really works. In any type of breathing that you like, people meditate and all that kind of stuff, but really the concept of focusing on your breath helps. So I give a lot of people breathing techniques, and I might even give them small terms to use for themselves, but I ask them why. So I'll sit them down because I'm a new school disciplinarian. I don't paddle kids or anything like that. For matter of fact, it's very calm, very booted out in my room. I have the hobo symbol for "You are welcome" here in my office. So when they come in and they sit there, and this is a student who has trauma that you would never know. They're walking from the projects to school, and who knows what happened the night before. I've lost a lot of students, and athletes. But when they come into my office, I lower their heart rate. I have a certain music playing at a beats per minute, and it's lowered down, and I sit them there. And they want to talk immediately. Well, this is why, because that wall's up. Somebody put that wall up. And so already they're telling themselves negative things.
And defensive as hell.
Yes. And so what I do is I lower that down, and instead of berating them like they just were, we pause and I do what we call a skull session, to where I sit down, and I do this with the people that I help with their life, right? And I give them a sheet, and it has some prompts. Why am I doing this and why am I that? And they'll give it to me. We just start a conversation. And by the time we talk, they have lowered themselves down, and you will find things out about these individuals that they haven't told anybody. And because religion is relationships, you don't have to preach about God to anybody. You can preach that concept, and that now if we have a relationship, you can come to me. But I can also stop you when you're getting in your way. And if I'm vulnerable to you as well, you can now stop me when, even though I think I have what I have going on together, like we were just talking about, once you think you've got it, you're done.
You're over.
Yes.
I say that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, once you think you made it, you've made it exactly where you are, and it's over. It's over. I like some of some of your concepts I use on a daily, weekly basis. But I told them we have a meeting every Monday morning with all the guys. It's the only time we really are all together at the same time. At least schedule wise. I mean, the people are in and out of here all the time. But I'm like, if you eat one McDonald's burger, is it going to kill you? No,
Not even close.
No. But if you eat a McDonald's burger and go to McDonald's every day and eat one meal for 30 years, you will die from that. You will die from that. And and I say that just not even in health, but it's mentally in anything you do on an everyday basis. So if you're talking about like, hey, I get up in the morning and I am in that negative headspace, I love putting things on my mirror. Because I look at them
affirmations,
and man, I look at them, and I like even like the like notes for my kids for my birthday. I like stick them on there. And I'll keep them on there for a lot. Like that makes me feel good, and then I'm in a good mood right out of the gate. Right. So like it's just little bitty things over and over, and I'd say this about pricing too when we do into business, like those little bitty pennies matter to us. That you're giving stuff away when you can The whole purpose is to make money so you can help yourself out, your family out, and everybody. There's nothing bad about that.
If you don't shine, I don't shine.
Yeah,
that's right.
We're talking about if you're like, I'm 3 pennies per transaction per customer when you're already saving them a lot of money. Well, over 10 years, that's 2 house payments for you.
Yeah.
And but it's the same thing as saying something nice about yourself, not eating that burger every day.
Right.
You know,
Right.
if you like the McRib, go get it once every 2 months or whatever when it comes out.
Yeah, ever so often.
Yeah, of course.
With what you do, I know you're in with the high school kids, you're doing the college, you have Heat Rises. What does your future look like for Heat Rises? What are you looking for it to do eventually? What's that ultimate goal for you?
So I want to gather enough individuals that I can bring other people on with the same mindset. Of course, they would approach it in their way under the same scope, but having a team, a tribe of humans that come to us, and it's a therapy. So initially, when you come and speak to us, I give you a breakdown of a TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure, after that first week. We break down how many calories you should be consuming, your macronutrients, your micronutrients, appropriate foods to eat at this time. And when you come and enlist me as a human, there's different packages, of course, that you can get. As far as if you want to be extreme with this, we can go extreme with this. And we can have you change your life within 6 months to a year. A guy I'm training right now who owns Brothers Gutters down in Columbus, Georgia, he's already lost 30 pounds. However, he put on 5 pounds of muscle, which is totally different. It took him 6 months to get there, and we're at about a year right now training together. But it's changed his whole life, his mindset on how he works with his family, how he works with other people, how he works with his clients. His clients now respect him more because when he walks in, he has that notion of, I've put in this work. So that's what I want.
And there's just a confidence you walk around with,
Oh,
right?
let
Like you
me-
just walk around with confidence, like getting a new suit. Like you put a new suit on, and it's just tailored to you. You're like, man, this feels good, baby.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to kill this day.
Compared to when I was 30, I'm 39 years old right now. Compared to when I was 30, when I walk into a room right now, there is no fear because I've already beat myself with
Sure.
that inner conversation. And I've won those wars. And when you go and you do a workout or do anything taxing mentally, you take your problems from vertically to horizontally, and you can start puzzle piecing them together and see what you need. And before we even got here, I knew what we were going to talk about. From what my brother told me, your energy was like, this is a no-brainer. This is going to be a conversation between high agency individuals.
Yeah, man. We like I just love being around happy people. But you know, if you're putting that in the atmosphere, good energy, and you're doing that, I mean, you're inherently gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
Like, and there's days that you're gonna be bad no matter what. You know,
Ebbs and
but-
flows.
It's life.
But if I can stay at this energy level and keep people around me that are energetic, then every day is going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
So
No doubt about it.
Going back to what you were talking about, I mean, with the term life strategist, I don't want to be a life coach. I don't want to be a wellness, coach. I don't want to be a personal trainer. I want to be a strategist because a lot of the times when you teach people, if you have your students teach you what you're trying to teach them, a lot of the times it sticks with them better and their affirmations. So the more I help other people, the more I'm being held accountable. So the term responsibility breaks down to a response to your ability. And then accountability breaks down accounts of your abilities. So if I'm breaking down and taking stock of my abilities and I'm taking account for them, I can now take new responses for new abilities. But if I'm still down here and I haven't taken those micro steps and I'm always thinking about this far, far thing that I think is so far-fetched, and I'm not one of those 1%ers that can just go, and I need that, and I'm constantly being able to take stock. So the people who come to me, that's what I want to give them, and that's what they are. They are paying for a service to change their life forever. This is a lifetime thing, and eventually they don't have to come back to me anymore, unless later on they're like, hey, here's a few shillings. Will you, I've fallen off the wagon a little bit. Can you help me get back to where I was? But because they already have this tiered information that I've given them, all I do is now more affirmations and check in with them. If you're going down to Florida and you want to eat something with your family and you're like, look, man, I'm at this restaurant shoot me a picture of the menu. I'll tell you what you should eat right now. And what'd you have this week? I can break something down that you can.
Yeah.
You tell them what to eat, and then you see a picture on Facebook. It's like not what you know.
I didn't tell you.
Sorry, dude.
Nice. Yeah. The purpose of the podcast has been to help people. That is what has helped us to be so successful. Us providing a platform for them, and the guests that come on, they share their skills, their experiences. One thing that I want to ask is, what would be a book that you would recommend for someone to start? Because that mental health part is such a huge thing in what we have going on in our world, in our lives. And we want the audience to be able to get great nuggets, which they have already. But I do want to ask if you can share, what would be a book that you would recommend someone start with?
I'm going to give two that are not going to be too heavy of reads or controversial from individuals that people might not like. One is a beautiful, beautiful human. His name is Adam Grant, and he has a book called Hidden Potential. That book right there is going to help people break down. There's a lot of different things to do in the book while you're going in the journey to help you find your hidden potential. And the other one is Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights.
Yeah, I've read it.
That book right there.
It's simple. It's so simple too, and it's just him telling his life.
Yes, and it is. He took things simple, but he had to dive in. Through struggle comes growth, and until you catch that from other people, it's not going to happen.
He wasn't afraid to fail,
No.
and that's really the success. And if you bottle up success in any way, there's a big ingredient is. You don't be afraid to fail, because you are going to fail, and there might be micro failures, but that's happening. That's a part of that bottle, man. That's on the back of the label, is that failure and being able to get back on. But all right, I love Green Lights, and I'll read that other one, that other one too. But honestly, it's you talked about, hey, I want a tribe of people, and that's really what this podcast is about too, is getting a tribe of businesses and like-minded people and working together to get to our goal.
Yeah.
And inherently, what is a business? I mean, everybody wants money. We want to feed our kids, but we want to do it collectively. That's the tribe mindset. It's not like anybody here.
It makes it easier.
And when you're a good person inherently, it's not like we're searching out to go buy yachts. That's not your goal. That's not an outcome. Your outcome is to wake up every day and come here. And the way I've seen you treat all the individuals in here, this is a tribe. This is a family. You take care of each other, and that's how you thrive. And that's a business. That's not it's not a corporation, and corporations are fine too. Wherever you go to get to is perfectly fine, but it's how you treat people. The only true currency we have is the effect we have on others.
It's just, as a growth in a business, and I say corporation, I mean, if you're incorporated, you're a corporation, right?
Yes.
But but when we say corporation, we think Google and Apple. That's what we think of, right?
Yeah.
But it's a tough ask to keep a culture with 500 people. Like that's a tough ask. It's also a tough ask to do good customer service when you got that many customers. It's like it's hard to do. So we want to be where we can keep our culture intact. And I think, but if we meet enough people that aren't directly working for us, but they're still on our team, we can all get there together.
So and that Adam Grant guy with the book Hidden Potential, on his Instagram and all of that, he is more of a business psychologist. And so he breaks down as a leader how to treat your individuals for them to work. And a lot of the things that I'm doing right now in leadership and from my mentors and learning from great reads like Peter Singe and the 5 Disciplines on just how you become a great leader and how you deal with the individuals around you, is that they are the ones that are building it. They are the scaffolding. You give them what they need. You make people feel valuable, and they give back to you. You're not a dictator. That's you can either lead by example or lead by fear. And we've seen how leading by fear works.
Yes.
It doesn't last.
No, it doesn't.
It never lasts.
Yeah, because people start resenting you, and
you might spike up real quick and get what you want right there in the short term.
Yeah.
But making people feel valuable and not being afraid to come to you, Think about trying to go to your dad when you're afraid after you get into a car wreck. That's the last thing you want. You need people in your life who are serving you.
You better grill it up and tell him though. I learned that fast.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to.
Grill it up and tell
There's going to be something.
Like
yeah.
you go right. If something bad happens, it's eat the frog, buddy.
Yeah.
Go in there and be like, this is what happened.
That's 100% true. 100% true. As we talk about joining tribes and having positive mindsets, how can the people get in contact with you to try to get a little bit deeper dive and you go, and help them specifically? What ways can they get in contact with you?
So I personally like my Instagram. I think that is the most important one. It is heatrises_grab lava. That's my favorite one to use because they can see my transformation as an individual. They can go in and look at other people who I have worked with in certain realms. I don't mind giving out my phone number. My phone number is 706-536-5435 because this is supposed to be personal. I can't tell you how much my phone blows up, but I'm going to answer you because this is also about your mental health too. This is not, we're talking spiritual, physical, mental. This is not just about losing weight. This is about changing your life. And if you don't have anybody in your life, I want to be that person or have a group of humans that you can get in contact with and say, man, I'm struggling. I got people that call me now who I haven't seen in forever, and they hit me up and they're like, Ben, I'm falling off the wagon, man. I need to talk to you. I'm struggling. And I'll pick up at 12 or 1 in the morning because they don't, you know how many people don't have somebody? How many people just out there struggling with anything?
Right. A lot of times too is and this will be the last, but a lot of times too is you're a different ear. They might have people that they're just ashamed to talk to somebody or go to somebody they probably could talk to, but you're just a different ear, which helps. Do you have a different, non-biased, different ear, man.
Yeah,
just a different ear, and it's wild how people will gravitate to somebody that I can talk to him, I can talk to her.
Makes a lot of sense.
We appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
We'll do this again, and we can always do it virtually too. So,
and no doubt. And once once the podcast is up and running, I'm going to have you guys come on my podcast, and we'll talk about sink the ship and all that kind of stuff, or burn the ship.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Everybody, be kind to each other out there.